Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony to require loot box odds disclosed.
The odds of loot boxes.
Yes. All three major console manufacturers, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, have agreed to require games with paid loot boxes to include the chances of winning randomized in-game items from them, the Entertainment Software Association announced Wednesday. The ESA, of course, puts together E3, who, of course, had a big old boondoggle last week.
Yes. Pieces of garbage.
Yes.
We're probably not going to E3 next year.
Which is a shame because next year is when all the new consoles come out.
Shame. But I hope nobody goes. Yeah. I hope they lose all of their money and have to close. Because the ESA is a trash corporation with a trash convention. It's been, the last couple times we've been to E3.
It's been hell.
It's been hell.
Yeah.
They don't care about their media people who go, who is the entire reason they have the convention in the first place.
Yeah. For a convention that's so like super concerned about security and not just letting anybody in, even if they have proper credentials.
Yes.
They certainly don't care about like, keeping all their information secure.
Yes.
Which is a shame.
Last year we didn't really have. No, we did. No, it took 2 hours to get media badges last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That was a pain in the ass. The year before that was much worse.
Yes.
Because we could barely get in with all of our equipment.
Yeah. And we got in later, so we missed everything. The lines were like much longer.
Yeah. They do everything in their power to make it harder for us to do our jobs.
Yeah.
Even though it's a media event. Go to PAX. PAX is the best convention that is available.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Unless you're a fan of Colin's Last Stand. Anyway, per the ESA, I'm pleased to announce this morning that Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony have indicated to the ESA a commitment to new platform policies with respect to the use of paid loot boxes in games that are developed for their platforms. Specifically, this would apply to new games and game updates that add loot box features, and it would require them to require the disclosure of the relative rarity or probabilities of obtaining randomized virtual items in games that are available on their platforms. Excuse me. In addition to the major console manufacturers, many of the leading video game publishers who are members of the ESA, the trade body that represents the video game industry, will implement similar approach. Those publishers include Activision Blizzard, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Bungie, Electronic Arts, Take-Two Interactive, Ubisoft, Warner Brothers, and Wizards of the Coast. Pretty much all the repeat offenders. According to the blog post, the console manufacturers are targeting 2020 for these changes. Other publishers are hoping to add these features no later than the end of 2020. The announcement comes after years of criticism from consumers about loot boxes in modern video games. The attention of the FTC seems to have inspired a new round of self-regulation within the members of the ESA. The maneuver brings to mind the formation of the Electronic Software Ratings Board in 1994, which was brought about in part to head off potential government regulation of video game content. So basically, this is their way of making sure that they can regulate themselves to do the right thing and disclose what the loot boxes are, what the possibility of getting the good stuff is before the government steps in and screws everything up.
The last thing we want is government intervention in video games.
Yes.
We recently heard over the weekend that all these people are blaming violent video games for mass shootings.
The president of our United States specifically called out video games in his speech after the incident.
Which I'm sure you've heard over and over again is the most ridiculous thing.
It is. It's not true. It's never been true. Yeah. We're going to go to a convention with a whole bunch of video gamers and nobody's going to shoot anybody. It's the same story over and over again. And it's
the Long Island Retro Game Festival. Yeah.
So
I was going to say E3 security, not the best.
Yeah, no.
PAX secured. They got plenty of security.
Yeah.
They got actual metal detectors.
Yeah.
Also, New York Comic Con. That might have the best security, I think.
New York Comic Con security is too secure.
Yeah.
That is also a pain in the ass to get to. I mean, it's better than E3 because they don't give you a hard time about anything.
I like how there's a weapons check.
Yeah, there's a weapons check.
New York Comic Con because there's so many cosplayers.
The problem with New York Comic Con is signing up for it because you got to have a fan verification.
That is the worst part. Yes, you're right.
But I get why they do that because that is a security measure because people usually just sneak in. I know I'm personal friends with people who have snuck into New York Comic Con.
Again, if you're gonna regulate video games to stop mass shootings, you also gotta regulate movies.
Yeah.
Because they're the same.
Yeah.
People think like, oh, but you have control over the character. That's no different.
It's no different. Control, like...
You don't actually have control over it. It's not...
Using a controller versus an actual gun is night and day.
You can't even pet dogs in half of these video games. You know what I mean? You can't do everything that you want.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, loot boxes are getting regulated. So that's good. So hopefully this will cut down on all the controversies involving loot boxes. It'll make people more aware that loot boxes are in games rather than just being surprised by them, like what happened with Star Wars.
It's good that the ESA is cutting this off before it becomes like a big, even though it has become a big problem, and other governments are regulating it. So they're like, before America regulates it, we gotta cut this off.
Yeah, let's fix
do
this.
our actual damn job.
Yeah, and I think this is a good start to, it's not just self-regulation, but also like teaching consumers like what loot boxes are, what the potential like hazards of them could be.
Correct.
And maybe this will also make the publishers make loot boxes more fair.
Yes.
Yeah,
well, yeah, if they have to display the actual
Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo don't allow AO rated games on their system. So maybe they might not allow games with loot boxes over a certain probability rate.
Hey, do you think this will make Nintendo release the probability of heroes moves in Smash Brothers?
Nah. Because that's not a microtransaction.
Well, it's a DLC character.
It is a DLC character.
What's the probability I'm going to get kaboomed?
Yeah.
Or thwacked?
Well, you're not paying for each thwack.
No, you're not. You're right.
So,
this is good. Yeah, this is good news.
Yes.
Good job, ESA. You did one thing right.
You did one thing right.